Hello, hello. This is Flair, and today I have CaisealBoy with me, and we're gonna react over the DPDL Season 2 finals. Say hello.
Hello, I'm CasualBoy. I'm a freelance shoutcaster and esports student from the UK, and I'm looking forward to having the experience of looking at some Little Cup play and see where we go from there.
Yeah, this has been a very fun season overall, and we have two of the absolute strongest teams here in the finals. We have the Phantom Menace and the Driftveil Danger Noodles. Two very strong teams with good players all around.
Yeah,
Um, yes, go on.
yeah. I was gonna say we've come into it with Shiny Caterpies, who is the Birmingham Regional Champion from 2017, so still defending that title, and also one of the current champions of Season 1 of the DPDL. And
Yep.
they've got Peachy Samantha, who is very new to the whole idea of draft leagues in a whole. So seeing that pair nurture each other. One of them is a fan of the little baby Pokemon. I know of that from Samantha, and
Mm,
then Rachel having that knowledge of draft leagues of VGC. So they've come together
yep.
and really shown the shine. The Phantom Menace, I don't know too much about them, so I'm going to look forward to seeing how they do.
Yes.
And I've heard they've got some success in DPéC in the past, and they're a bit unfortunate they can't make tournaments. But
Yeah, for sure.
hopefully this is a nice time to shine.
Yeah, we have DGS and Spades with us today. Spades has won two of our ladder tours already, so he's a very strong player. And I know DGS is like a draft league champion. He has won so many draft league seasons. He's a super scary player. So I'm very excited to see how this all turns out to go down. Do you want to get into it?
Yeah, we'll get straight into it to see how our teams choose their Pokemon, what Pokemon they brought, obviously, because it's a draft league, and how they initiate the battle and go through it step by step.
Yes. So, just for reference, this is from the Phantom Menace perspective of the battle. So, let's see. Caterpie getting ready here. So, we have Nate who is Spades, we have Caillou who is Caterpie, and we have Samantha as Samantha, and of course, DGS as DGS. So, they'll have Spades in the first player slot, and Driftveil Danger Noodles is gonna have Samantha in the first player slot.
Yeah, so this is actually really crucial in multi-battles because it determines who will have that Dynamax power first. If the players choose to go for that Dynamax, if not, it just shows maybe that that's the Pokemon that might be going first forward, or it could be a mind game because people are going to think number 1 is going to go first. So that could mean number 2 could then switch things up, go first, and number 1 be a supportive role, and just really get that upper hand in the mental game. But as we can see, both teams have opted to bring both sides could possibly do that. Of course, the Litten is very supportive in this format. It's basically Incineroar. We know what that
Yeah,
does from the main VTC. Dino is nice to see. It's a hustle Pokemon. So, sadly, it's got the 4-turn weakness to Fairy, but Fairy isn't as common in Little Cup. Sometimes it's coverage. Let's see how our opponents have decided to get that sorted. Skrelp is a powerhouse.
for
Eviolite's going to make
sure.
it bulky. And, it's just great to see that. As see the go on the team preview here, so we don't get a chance to go over all those Pokemon. You see
Yeah.
that the Waffle's Litten. Oh, no, we're going back again. Yeah, Galarian Meowth. It's like a Zacian, really. It's got tough
Yeah,
claws. It's
for
steel
sure.
type. And it's
It's a
very strong.
it's a very strong Pokemon. And I think it's really interesting seeing a Rostelli Berry on that Dino to make sure it lives a hit from a fairy type attack, probably from a Dazzling Gleam on Abra and so on. So let's get into this. Let's
Yeah,
see
jump.
what these players lead.
Yeah, jump into it. See who wins from the trainer cards as well, with some very spicy trainer card images.
For sure.
As we see that we're seeing this, of course, from the Phantom Bias, we see Samantha send out Abra and Caillou send out Togepi. So a very strong lead in the redirection plus a super fast attacker in front of a Litten and a Snow But to see how our players adapt to this play, because of course there's redirection going on, there's fake out that go on. It says an inner focus on that Abra, it might not get flinched, and then this could be a Staff Snow.
So we see a quite offensive Litten clicking U-turn immediately into this Abra, which could deal major damage if 20p decides to not redirect, but it protects.
Yeah, the protect from aggro means that we're going to see another protect as well, so really hoping they can avoid some attacks here. The no fake out though as the Icy Wind comes out, so possibly a Choice Scarf on that slow run, because it is not normally slow, but you know, it's not the slowest thing. And then the U-turn coming out isn't going to hit into that Abra, so we're going to, and there's no going to be no damage and no switching. Possibly could look into a Party Shot next turn to drop those stats because it can't protect. And then maybe just work around that Togepi, see what it's got. If it goes to follow me, you're still getting switch out of late in there. And then, you know, still getting Icy Wind off its spread. And if you are a Choice Scarf, you're going before that Abra, means that you're not going to be, you know, too mitigated because something can come in the back, outspeed the Abra, and get a nice knockout.
Yes, since next turn, Spades will be the one who can Dynamax, which will allow this Icy Wind to probably set up some good speed control for the next turn. So that the Snorunt is a Scarf, which we can see here.
Yes, the Scarf Icy Wind going off first, dropping the speeds, like I said, so we're going to see some funky speed tiers. The Flare Blitz comes out, probably opting just to try and get rid of this Togepi as quick as possible. The Togepi, just like its bigger form, Togekiss, can be made bulky and not really rely too much on its lower stats because it can be supportive. The Psychic comes out and just destroys this Snow Run. As I said, not the bulkiest, not the fastest Pokemon. Choice Scarf just being its real only option in Little Cup to get off those Icy Winds, maybe an Ice Shard or something else to self-proc. You know, an anger point or a weakness policy. Now, Litten is sat here by itself as we're waiting for the attacks to go off. And, you know, this could be an upper hand here for the Danger Noodles, but PHANTUMP comes in, and PHANTUMP, it does threaten that Abra if it is a max speed after that Icy Wind.
Yes, which I think is very interesting. We saw a Life Orb on the Abra, and a Kibia, the Poison Resist Berry on the Togepi. So that reveals that they have their Eviolite somewhere else. We can only wonder where.
Yeah, you're going to have to think where that is. Maybe on something like the Psyduck, because I know they've used in the past a bulkier Carmine Psyduck with Eviolite to be super bulky and then just boost their special attack stat and get those damage off. You see a Follow Me coming out, so just trying to guarantee that there's no moves going to that Abra, possibly hoping that something like a Shadow Ball can get a knockout. Flare Blitz coming out though from the Litten, and it's going to go straight into that egg as Follow Me redirects it, knocks it out, so that's one threat out of the way for the PHANTUMP Menace, as they can just ignore any redirection. As a Shadow Ball does come out here, will it do enough damage to get the knockout? It does go into, it goes all the way down, it gets a sash, so a crucial live there.
The
We could see a
sash is very important. Trick Room going up is very good for the Phantom Menace here, I think. Because now they could try getting either Skrelp or Dino in and start the Dynamax sweep.
Yeah, and if they get that off, it's a very powerful play. But we see an item procking on this Golett. It's the room service, so possibly set up so it outspeeds outside Trick Room, but unspeeds in Trick Room.
That's amazing.
Sometimes on stack attackers. So we have to see how that affects the flow of play going into these next turns whilst we're under the Trick Room effects.
Yes, I think that's a very interesting Golett. And maybe it even underspeeds this PHANTUMP to make sure it can't get a Horn Leech off to get some HP back and deal heavy damage into the Golett. We'll have to see here. The Abra is still very alive and of course can threaten both Pokemon very strongly here. A Psychic would probably KO the Litten, which would put the Menace in a bad position.
There we go, stream is back for me.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine, don't mind my end. Yeah, so we see a Protect coming off. You know, what stuff could have happened to see Slug has come in, Stomach Tantrum going in, possibly hoping for a switch or just avoiding Protect. Parting Shot coming out, going to that Golett, it's going to be weaker. And I've used it in the past in previous DPéC draft formats, and as much as the ability makes it look like it's quite good, when it gets those stat drops, it isn't the best thing, especially in the face of some Pokemon who hit super effective attacks. If the Skrelp comes in with that adaptability, and it's a plethora of stab moves, some of which is super effective against the remaining Pokemon on the opposing side.
Definitely. Okay, so we see the Skrelp maxing and going for Geyser right into the Golett, which will deal a lot of damage. They just have to watch out for the now very slow Golett, who can possibly get a powerful ground move into it.
Yeah, Golett, of course, does threaten those special defense boosts and super effective attacks, you know, with its ground type stab. But, you know, will it really matter if it goes before it in Trick Room? Because maybe they've counted their room service wrong. Maybe it's one of those ones where it's a speed die. We'll have to work it out. And if it does come down to those unfortunate events, Grelp is going to be that powerhouse we said it was in the team preview. And you can go for a max geyser for maybe Scald or Hydro Pump. You go for a max ooze into that Psyduck, and then get a special attack boost, and then let the grass type super effective stab, also from his Phantump, or even the ghost type stab, go into the Golett, as it does switch out here. The Terraformer, if you see, is the Dwebble, and Dwebble can be very strong. Unfortunately, its main niche in being Shell Smash, not as powerful in Trick Room, but maybe it's a bulkier variant that has a slow mode and a fast mode. We'll have to see how it adapts, as the Dynamax does go off now for that Skrelp, and Skrelp is just in such a threatening position. Would you agree there, Flair?
I definitely agree. This Skrelp is looking super scary. It can deal so much damage if you leave it unchecked. And this Max Geyser comes out and will definitely KO Golett.
Yeah, Golett not liking that. Even if had any bulk involved in it, it doesn't really matter. Again, what I said, those calcs of speed could be a speed tie, could be a case of it's just a slim margin. We'll never know. We'll maybe find out in game 2 as the Psychic goes off, and that does barely anything. That EV Light showing how powerful it is. Some Skrelp opt to run a Life Orb, but this one doesn't opt to go for it. Maybe you want to have that outright bulk just to be like, I'm going to go big, get my HP buff, get this defense buff from my EV Light, and just do loads of damage with my ability.
For sure.
Anarif comes in.
Yeah, Anarif isn't really in a good position here in the rain, as Skrelp is out and can easily go for a KO. Right now, the Anarif is the Pokemon who can Dynamax, which they don't. They Aquate the Webble for pretty good damage.
Yeah, the Dwebble taking that quite well, even with the rain up, so possibly showing it's somewhat bulky, like I said, and then the Max Geyser just knocking out in return, so no Focus Sash on that slot there, and really putting the pressure on as the Rock Slide comes out. A stab, really powerful Pokemon there, does a solid chunk, I want to say at least 25%. The Scald comes out, gets the knockout, so one step ahead, but is it enough steps ahead for the Danger Noodles to take this game from the position they're sat in right now? As the rain keeps on thundering down, the Skrelp stays in its Dynamax form.
Yes. One thing I think is very interesting is that the DRIFTVEIL Danger Noodles still have the option to Dynamax. And there we see the Eviolite on the Duskull, which is very important information. Oh, here we see one of the very scary mechanics in a multi-battle, that if you eliminate one side of the field, it's all of a sudden a 2v1 battle, which is a huge advantage for the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it's an advantage that you really don't want to be in. Yes, you have those 3 Pokemon still, but they're not evenly dispersed across the field, which means that you just have to pickpocket one slot, as you said. The Max Ooze comes out here and does a nice little chunk even through Protect, not the damage that they probably wanted to see, but it still gives them that special attack boost. We're likely going to see a Poltergeist or maybe a Horn Leech come out from this Phantom, you know, just opting to be like, I can get my HP back. There it is. Psyduck, happily protecting himself there. You could see Trick Room go down as it does, and maybe relying on something like a really strong Blizzard to get the damage off. Or maybe it's just going to be a forfeit here. I'll have to see, you know, knowing that it's just a 2v1 in all occasions.
Yep. Which is, of course, a very scary situation. And a +1 Thunderbolt from Skrelp, or a Horn Leech from the Phantump is definitely not looking nice for this little Psyduck. Do you think it will take a hit?
If it is especially defensive and it's got that EV Light, it could take a hit. If not, it'll be a very big roll as the Ice Beam comes out, but unfortunately it goes into that Protect. It's been a great move. It got into the other slot as a Thunderbolt comes out here, goes into the Duck, and gets that knockout. So now we're going to go into what the Pokemons are back, still in that 2v1 situation, and it's a Phantump Menace with their mascot here, and one of his best friends there, both little small shrimpy things. Have fun.
Yes, for sure. Here comes the Shimken. Still in the rain, but it's now Samantha's turn to Dynamax finally. Do you think we'll see the maxing Torchic here, or will they save it for the last Pokemon? Turns out that they don't Dynamax the Torchic, get some damage on both of their Pokemon, knocking out the Phantom. Okay, so let's see here if this Torchic can continue rolling on, getting the speed boost, which could be very valuable in this end game.
Yeah, speed boost one of those abilities that, it can be powerful because if you get enough boost from it, you can just sweep even with a choice of the focus attributes in here. But, it's not going to do enough damage to this Skrelp unless we see some sort of super mega crit. Heat wave going off. So much damage it does. It does a decent chunk of, the typing of Skrelp, then Sludge Bomb going out, opting to maybe do a little bit of BM there, get the knockout. Maybe calling a switch as well. I have to see, maybe if we find out what players think later on. I have
Yes.
to see what is in the back. I believe it's the Abra. It is Flep the
Oh
Abra here.
yes, that's actually very threatening for the Skrelp as a psychic. Probably knocks it out in one hit from this range, which is very nice for the Danger Noodles. Although there's still a lot of Pokemon in the back for the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, so the Pokemon advantage still in the Phantom Menace's field, but with how strong this Abra can be, just getting off 3 super strong Dynamax attacks, it's got a super high special attack stat. You can hold a Life Orb, and with Magic Guard, it takes no damage from that Life Orb, so it's very nice to run that sort of stuff.
For
Of course,
sure.
it hides the item until you find out later on. Protect coming out here, as we saw as the attacks were put in there. But we'll see if Abra doesn't care about Protect, as the Max Mind Storm comes out, smacks right into the Skrelp, and it does get a knockout there for about
That's
half health.
amazing. That's really good for the Noodles here, I think. It's now 2v1, but since they still have their Dynamax, 2 turns of it, I think they're still in a pretty decent position, especially since this Abras now is +0 speed again. And we see Meowth switching in.
Screen, there you go.
Oh, whoop.
Right.
Okay, so what does this Meowth do then? It's trying to U-turn to get some damage onto this Abra. The problem could be if it managed to KO it first.
Yeah, so we see if Max Phantasm come off here, it's showing as much damage as possible, but it doesn't quite grab it. And with the Tough Claws ability, U-turn is a physical, in terms of the physical treatment of attacks.
And it
Goes
does
in,
KO.
gets that KO, super effective, not even stab, but the low fragile defenses and the Tough Claws ability does allow it to get that knockout. So
And
game 1 will go in favor of the Phantoms here.
a very close and fun game, I think. It ended in a 2-0, but I think it was very, it was very close to flipping over to DRIFTVEIL's side, I think.
Yeah, the DRIFTVEILs had those opportunities to take the game. They really did push for that victory, and it came close depending on the damage rolls on that Abra, both from that Abra and against their Abra. So I have to see, how they react in game 2, if they're going to bring the same leads, they're going to switch up the leads, or if the Phantoms will change as well. They could think, okay, our opponents know how to beat this lead because they did show the ability to try and beat it.
Yep.
Are they going to stop it up? Or they can realize that the speed tiers are so in their favor that Trick Room Turn 1 is just so powerful.
Yeah. So let's see if they wanted to switch their player 1, the DRIFTVEIL Danger Noodles, that is. Because of the rule we added to the Top Cut matches, where it's actually played as a best of 3, and you can switch the player 1 on the losing team in between rounds. Of course, Phantom Menace will continue with their set of Spades and DGS, and it looks like Samantha will stay as player 1.
Yeah, so maybe just taking that tactical advantage there, just thinking we know our game plan, we want to stick to it, and maybe in game 3 they'll swap it up if they want to mix and match their game plan. But if that happens, that happens. As we see, the Litten is being picked to start here, so the Phantom Menace are trying to opt to go for the same sort of lead, but I have to see what comes alongside it, as we're seeing again the Skrelp and the Meowth coming.
For
See if
sure.
DGS leads with that Snow Run as well. Of course,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No. I'm thinking about how the DRIFTVEIL Danger Noodles will try to return maybe they try to capitalize a bit more on that Torchic in the beginning, just to threaten the Phantom well enough to make sure that it doesn't get Trick Room up. What do you?
Threatening that PHANTUMP is a good play they can go if they do sit in the front. The only problem is if they stay at Litten, there's Pokemon are likely to get fake out, and they've got that pressure, that mind game we hate to see in VGC, where you'll see it of like a Spore Pokemon and a fake out Pokemon, or like a something plus Taunt or whatever it may be, where you have to play mind games of if I fake out the Pokemon that can use Taunt or fake out, then the Pokemon next to it can get its Spore or it can get its Trick Room off. But if I fake out the Pokemon there, then there's going to be a Taunt or another fake out, and then the turn order is really messed up. So the mind games will be going into it, and I'll have to work out what Pokemon can stop that. Maybe it isn't inner focus Abra, we just don't know yet, and that could really mess up the lead. Yeah, as a Phantom Menace, think they have the upper game from that. If we see at turn 1, it could be a play they're opting to make, but if we don't, then we can strongly assume it is Magic Guard, and they're going to save it for after Trick Room to just sweep those Pokemon that are slow.
For sure. And we see the Abra Anorith lead, which I think is very interesting. Anorith can contribute with a lot of offense, although it's getting intimidated. We can actually see here that the Abra is not in their focus as it gets intimidated, which is a very interesting interaction in this case.
Yeah, so revealing that is that Magic Guard ability most likely, which we didn't see any drops from any stats, so could be a Lifeform variant go for the outright power. But this Anorith, as you said, is kind of neutered a little bit because it relies heavily on its strong physical attack. It's a very fast Pokemon. If Rain goes up, it can outspeed things. Protect comes out from the Abra though, so the speed tier is not being determined quite too early. So Fake Out does go into that Anorith.
Ooh,
so
that's bad. And that's very scary. That means Dwebble gets a +2 to attack and a +2 to speed, which will make it incredibly threatening in the following turns. Even just a Rock Slide in this position could be devastating for the Danger Noodles.
Yeah, Rock Slide is the way for the Seams for the rest of this matchup because you click it and there's loads of damage going off. Litten can easily parting shot to guarantee that there is no offensive presence on the opposing side. Even if it's a U-turn to break any slashes or a Flare Blitz to break a slash, well, we've got get a burn too. We'll just see how off that. And then, it'll just be, riding home Cowboy from there really as the Abra does switch out. Really scared of what I can see. In comes the Psyduck, but can Psyduck take this hit as well? Even with its Eviolite and its fairly okay bulk in comparison to Abra. You see the Dwebble possibly going big, or it could be a Litten. The Pokeball leaves us in a wait as we come out, and we see that it is that Dwebble going big, and that is going to be very threatening for the rest of the game to get those Max Rock Falls off.
For sure. I think a Rock Slide, Rockfall might be coming into this thing now. As we see a critical hit Aquayet.
Yeah, so the critical hit Aquayet not doing as much as you wanted to do because it's gone big, and then the Max Rockfall comes down and grabs the knockout. So the Pokemon, Steamroll, the Train of Faints is coming in now. Of course, that Sandstorm is going to buff the special defense of Dribble because it is a rock type. And, these attacks coming out from Psyduck as well are going to do even less, even with its super effective and stab, as any possible sash it could have been on the... It's actually no, because the sash is on the Torchic, my bad. So that is now broken, and we'll have to depend on can Sheer Force, maybe some crits, break through things. As we do see, I believe that was the Meowth coming in, and a very strong Pokemon in that Meowth, threatening very little damage from the Abra, but threatening a lot in return with its ability Tough Claws.
For sure. This looks like a very scary situation for the Danger Noodles. The Shell Smash really makes this situation so much worse, since this Dwebble can output so much offensive pressure.
Yeah, Dwebble, it's one of those Pokemon that once it gets going, it will not stop. It's got its ability off of the White Herb, plus the Shell Smash. And here it'll just go big. It's like a Groudon. It's like a Landorus, a fast, strong Pokemon with Rock Slide, with these good stabs that can take control of the field, especially in this matchup. Like in draft, it doesn't matter if you have a strong stab move or a strong coverage move. As long as you're hitting the Pokemon on the opposing side, you're going to be getting those big numbers and those big rolls. So Max Rockfall comes out again, from the Dwebble going into that Psyduck. Can Psyduck take it with Eviolite? It cannot. It goes
Oh,
straight down.
that's a very scary attack. And the U-turn goes into a protect.
U-turn, go and protect. It was a good call there, keeping the Togepi safe, possibly expecting a steel type attack into it. Maybe the Phantom Menace could have predicted a bit of turn ahead and been like, okay, well, it's got protect from the steel type attacks. And if it's go for follow me, I can get the U-turn off. So they could have maybe gone for a side follow me. Similar that took them. Yeah, and regardless, they would have moving there. Oh, side U-turn. Sorry, I said side follow me as the.
Yeah, that would have been a
Torchic.
very
Yeah,
interesting move. Just U-turning into Dwebble just to ensure the switch. Now we see them hard switching.
Yeah, going for a hard switch, possibly, just wanting to bait out maybe a mix attacking Torchic here, because we just see Heat Wave earlier, so could be Heat Wave Flare Blitz, could be Heat Wave Blaze Kick. We'll have to see, as the Intimidate, of course, does go off because of the Intimidate ability, and then the Follow Me coming out. So just keeping those strong Rock type attacks away from the Torchic, as much as possible. Max Rockfall though, with that +2, it's Stab. It's going to go straight into that Togepi. It is a bulky Pokemon, but it will not take it by the seams of it. It's
Dwebble
another
deals
Pokemon gone.
so much damage. Oh, that's a Heat Wave with misses.
Oh, the Heat Wave misses, as you say, and it hits into the Fire-type Pokemon. Not doing enough damage to get a knockout, but a nice chunk. The sand will peter on down and get into it. The sash broken on the Torchic because of the sand, but the speed boost going up, so it could possibly outspeed this Dwebble if the speed investment is right. But from here, it looks like it is just going to be, riding on home with this Dwebble. Even when it goes small, it can just click Rock Slides. It has an X-Scissor, I believe, to hit into that Golett, see how they react to it, and of course Parting Shot can go into Golett as well, make it weaker where it has got that strength above the Dwebble.
Yeah, for sure. This is looking like a very threatening position. Caterpie only has one Pokemon left on their side, which could easily turn this into a 2v1 situation, while the Menace has 3 Pokemon on each side still, so they are looking to be in a very dominant position.
Yeah, so we're seeing all these protects come out, just guaranteeing that, no shenanigans happen. As you see the Parting Shot and Knockoff going in a crisscross position there, just to try and really, benefit as much as possible, get as much damage off of that Togepi, because of course Torchic, too many T's in his team. Torchic is the only thing that can really threaten the field with its speed boost, now +2, so it could again be faster. I'll have to see, if that is some calculations that the Danger Noodles have done to maybe get an upper hand in this matchup in the late game.
For sure. Let's see what this Torchic can do. Maybe it could deal enough damage into the Dwebble. And we see a Dynamax coming in from the Danger Noodles here. And we see the Golurk going big.
Yeah, so Golurk going big. It could still be threatened by that +2 knockoff because it has took out its item, in fact. So it'll do even more damage. I have to see how it reacts to that with all the buffs. Rock Slide coming out is definitely going to knock out that Torchic. And it's just going to leave, Litten to just maybe go for a Flare Blitz, get a nice burn, go for a U-turn, get a switch out, go for the Parting Shot, switch out. Goes for the Flare Blitz, that does a decent chunk. No burn, luckily, for the Danger Noodles. But then the Citrus Berry is proc, so a good play there, just getting some health back for the PHANTUMP Menace, and it's Litten again. It's healthy enough to go for a nice little switch out. As we see a Max Phantasm going into the Litten, possibly predicting a protect from the Dwebble, trying to get an upper hand. And of course, Litten's going to go down, so no Intimidates. And then I believe it is the Meowth in the back, which could come in and just do some nice damage again with its Tough Claws ability.
Yep. Both Meowth and Squirtle are looking terrifying in this position, if I say so myself. We earlier saw the foul play on Meowth, which could deal a lot of damage into Golurk.
Yeah, Golurk hasn't got any attack buffs, but it still has got a nice attack stat. And it still is super effective into it with the buff from the ability. You have to see how our players react to this state of play, hovering over the possible moves, possibly thinking of protect, possibly thinking what to do. Let's see if they call it right, and if our opponents here call it attacks right as well. as we see that the knockoff is coming out, going into that Golurk, getting the knockout because it's so powerful. It still has its item attack as it sets up in a fiery flames, going down with Dynamax form, leaving in dust. As we see if this Psychic does enough damage, it could get a knockout here on Dwebble.
Oh, it
It
is
does
indeed
grab
a
it.
knockout. That's great.
That is very good there for them. But you see the U-turn come on out. It might as well get the knockout as well because of the Chuff Claws. It does showing it doesn't matter how much health it is at. And this game is definitely going in favor of the PHANTUMP Menace. And there are your victors for this season 2 of the DPDL. And,
Whoa. What a
they've really
match.
worked their way through. That was a great match.
What a match. What a match. I think we saw some very interesting Pokemon there. Definitely the Dwebble, I think was super threatening. As soon as it got that Shell Smash off, it was terrifying, to say the least. Dealt so much damage and really controlled the field, making itself more bulky with Rockfall as well. What Pokemon would you like to highlight from this match?
Uh, Honestly, I think I have to say the Skrelp and the Dwebble as well, just because they came in with slightly unorthodox sets. Of course, Dwebble, you kind of have to go for like Shell Smash sets, possibly Shell Smash 30 to go down to that 1 HP if it needs to, and then go super strong. Could have seen some sort of Custat Berry sturdy set. It has many things, but that Skrelp opting to go for an EVLA over the ever so, accustomed Life Orb set and just being, working off its sheer special attack stat with adaptability ability and then being like, okay, here's all my damage. Hit me if you want. It took some nice attacks, and then sadly it went down to that Max Mindstorm, but really did put in the efforts there. And hopefully teams in the future will draft this or fear it if it is drafted.
For sure. I think Skrelp really had its time to shine in this season, and I'm very interested to see who will draft it and how it will do in the next season of DPDL, which is coming incredibly close. Only a few days left on signups, and then it's time to start drafting and having a lot of fun with the new season. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I haven't had the time to sign up. I'm focusing a lot more on the ladder tournaments that we host here at DPéC as well, and the best of 3 tournaments, which are
Yeah,
just as fun because you get to see a more orthodox side of DPéC,
for
and there's a
sure.
lot of Pokemon which double up as to their adult forms. But yeah, but
Yeah, I
that is
think it has a lot of stuff is going on here, and it's an awesome community, and we're having a lot of fun.
yeah, it's one of the best VGC communities. Like I'd say sometimes when it's a bad format for VGC, you can never go wrong with a little bit of Little Cup.
For
A lot
sure,
of Pokemon contrast the same, and it's nice to see things that you'll never see do good in like the bigger versions of their Pokemon do well in such small formats like Remoraid or Wailord, if I've been practicing a lot with recently.
for sure. Anyways, I think that's everything for today. I'd like to thank you for following us through this season and having a lot of fun with us. And we'll see you in season 3.
See you in
And
season
if
3, guys.
any final words?
Just thank you for having me along. It's been great getting more opportunities to, look over Pokemon, especially one of my favorite formats, as I said, getting to cast over that has been great. I hope to come back in the future for more DPEC and DPDL tournament.
For sure. Well, I'm sure you'll return casting. I think it was a ton of fun, and yeah, I'm hoping to have you on here in future matches as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was everything for now.